Doing a vision board isn't going to support you in reaching your goals. We treat vision boards like this magic thing, but what does it mean? Is it just a compilation of fun pictures, or does it have meaning behind it? Does it have goals behind it? Does it actually have structure behind it? A vision board should be direction, inspiration, a reminder of what your goals are. Hello and welcome back to the EmpowerHer Podcast. Today, being that it is the new year and some of the topics that I've heard kind of going around, some of the things that are very prevalent to talk about this year, for example, vision boards. Everyone's talking about it. It was literally the only thing that came up on my For You page in December. Vision board after vision board after vision board on TikTok, literally. I decided that I wanted to talk about this topic because I have a different perspective on vision boards and what they should actually look like and how they can actually work, and why just doing a vision board isn't going to support you in reaching your goals. So the thing is, and what I talk about every single year in January, if you're setting new goals and resolutions, the majority of people basically stop obtaining their goals, stop working on their goals in February. The majority, it's a very high percentage, like over 70%. We don't want that to be you. So the question is how do we make sure that isn't you? It's to make sure we don't just do a vision board, slap it across our screen and call it a day. We actually have to have a strategy behind it. So I just want to say that before even going into it, this episode is not going to be anti-vision board. I have a vision board. I love vision boards. But vision boards are one piece of the very large puzzle. And I think we need to put vision boards into context of what they actually look like, what they actually should look like, what they should mean, and how to actually create them in a way that makes sense for us. The thing is, and again, I talk about this every year around New Year, is if you don't feel like creating a vision board, if you don't feel like having New Year's goals, if you don't want to have resolutions, I don't even love that word, then don't. We are literally in the dead of winter. This is not the time for us to be creating new goals if you don't want to. If you do and it feels aligned to you, great. I, for example, created no new goals in January. My new year is from April to October. I do 6 months at a time, and then October to April. For me, that works because spring is April. I was also born in April, so it feels like a new year to me. And then October is like that fall energy, kind of the halfway point, but it's also a lot of really positive energy. So I like doing it then as well for kind of that winter and spring season. So that's when I do it, but you do you. So I'm going to tell you how we can do the vision boards, why they work, why they don't work, and how we can use them in a way that is actually going to support you. So the thing with vision boards and why they don't work alone is because vision boards are passive, okay? Habits are the active part, what we're doing. Vision boards are passive, so they're not the same thing. And the thing is most people don't fail with their goals or their visions. It's not because they don't want it badly enough, right? It's because that version of them doesn't exist yet, right? And we treat vision boards like this magic thing. We're just going to cut and paste things, put them on a vision board or do it on Canva or whatever it is, and we create this vision board. But what does it mean? Is it just a compilation of fun pictures and things that look good? Or does it have meaning behind it? Does it have goals behind it? Does it actually have structure behind it? Because that's what really matters. So a vision board should be direction. It should be inspiration. It should be a reminder of what your goals are, but it shouldn't be magic, right? Because the thing is, without habits, vision board is just another thing you're going to feel guilty about, either guilty for not doing it, guilty for your goals not coming true, and it's just going to help you spiral, right? So I actually think that vision boards are not the first thing you should be doing. I think vision boards are the last thing that you should be doing in your goal setting, manifestation steps, if we're going to look at it that way. So the vision board is made up of the goals you've already created. It's meant to be additional vision. It's meant to be you seeing that, because that's the whole point, right? You create your goals and then you create a visual representation of those goals, but you're still working on your goals in the background. You're still being active about your goals, But your vision board is like reminding your subconscious, is constantly seeing it in front of you as a reminder, as inspiration to say, okay, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep doing this. So I do want to mention, which I already did, but I would be remiss not to talk about this, that winter is actually not necessarily a time to start speeding up and setting goals. Wintertime, if we're looking at nature, and just not even from a spiritual perspective, just a nature perspective, what happens in the wintertime? Animals hibernate, the leaves fall off the trees, the flowers aren't blooming, grass is dead, like everything is quote unquote dead or hibernating or, being put away. It's not necessarily a time to speed up. So if you even feel this in your body, maybe you're craving more warming foods, you don't want to go out as much, spend time outside of your home, you want to be cozy. Those are all signs that you're in that winter mode, which is totally normal, especially if you live in a place where it is warm, or rather where it's cold and where you're in the northern hemisphere. So it makes sense. But of course, there's wintertime everywhere else. Just this time of year, for those of us in the northern hemisphere, really means that it's a time to rest and recalibrate and potentially even slow down, which I know we don't want to hear and kind of conflates with this New Year's energy, but that's a patriarchal that's completely made up by the patriarchy, which I won't even get into, but it's not how we work in nature. So again, if you don't feel like setting goals right now, don't do it. You don't actually have to do it. And I want to remind you all that if you do want to slow down during this time of year, it's not laziness. It doesn't mean anything about your value and who you are. It just means that your body needs to rest and recalibrate. And that is okay. And it doesn't mean we're not working on any of the goals we've set. It just means maybe we're doing things differently. We have a different pace. We're doing them a little bit in a different way. And that is absolutely okay as well. So I don't want you to have to force yourself to make big changes. I think a lot of the pressure that comes from setting New Year's goals and a lot of the issues that come from not achieving your New Year's goals actually comes from this pressure to create goals when you're not feeling like it. So I just say that as like, if you don't feel like creating a vision board or setting your goals, like that is absolutely okay. You don't need to do that. It is not the time of year to do that. So again, just like understand that winter is a time for really slowing down. It isn't necessarily the time of year to try something new or be someone new. It's really building the foundation. If you can create habits, if you can create routines that work for you, that's an incredible thing to do this time of year. But starting something new, having new goals, trying new things is not necessarily where we're at. So if you're thinking about what goals to set, I highly recommend looking more like into your habits, into your daily tasks, how you live your life, and looking at those rather than trying to be outside more, go to the gym 5 million more times. How about, can we do nervous system regulation? Can we meal prep? Like, what are those things that we can do that still allow us to be in our slow down, hibernating feel rather than doing things that maybe would be better in the springtime? I just would have been remiss not to mention that, but I think that's important context as well. Going back into the missing link with vision boards. So small habits are the missing link. I say this every time. If you're setting big overarching goals that take 6 months, a year, even longer, and you're not setting small weekly goals, you are doing it wrong. You are going to fail, and not because you don't want it, because you haven't set your system up to work in your favor. Okay. And again, you don't need 10 new routines. You don't need to do a million other things, but you need 1 or 2 habits that feel easy or that feel doable. That's really where we want to start out. So this is how change really happens, okay? So the first thing is you implement 1 to 2 small habits for 1 to 2 weeks, right? If we're talking about, let's say, nervous system regulation, let's say you do a nervous system regulation for 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes at night, and you do that for 2 weeks. If it becomes part of your routine, then you can start adding new habits. And again, once they feel natural, then you can add more and you can layer it. But being consistent is going to beat intensity every time. I would rather you do 2 minutes twice a day than 30 minutes once a week. It's not going to help you. Consistency is what is going to work. And that's what's really important. So I just want to share some examples that could be good. So, for example, if your goal is to work out more or move your body more, how about you do short 5-10 minute walks instead of trying to do a complete overhaul of your workout plan, right? How about you just set one boundary at work or one boundary with your family that feels tough rather than trying to set a million boundaries? How about you do one consistent wake up ritual instead of trying to redo it, right? For example, if you're trying to wake up earlier, don't wake up a half an hour earlier immediately. Just do 5 minutes earlier for a week, and then 5 minutes earlier than that, week 2, and then again 5 minutes, and then you'll slowly get to that point. My personal example is I had a huge increase of work at the end of 2025, which was great, but it also meant that I deprioritized things because I just physically had so much work that I felt like I couldn't do all those other things that I love. And so, for example, for me, going to the gym is really important. And I had to look at like, okay, what does going to the gym look like? What is important? What do I need to go to the gym to do? And I realized that one of my issues was that I was going to the gym to do either Pilates or strength training. And then I would try to do like an hour on the treadmill walking after that. And that's really where I got to the point where I was like, I don't have necessarily 2 hours to spend at the gym when I have so much work. So I invested and I bought a walking pad. And I got a standing desk or like an adjustable desk so that way I could walk while I'm working. So I didn't try to add something into my routine. I tried to see if I could habit stack and really create and cultivate a way for me to do all of those things that I want to do without sacrificing sleep, time with my husband, or whatever it is. So that was my example. And I can let you know how it goes because I'm very excited to see that. So how can we use January energy without burning out? Because again, that's usually what happens is we have all this propaganda about January and we want to do all these millions of things, but then we end up burning out and we don't do what we say we want to do, right? So ask yourself these questions, okay? What would make my days feel 5% easier right now? Again, see how we're starting very small. Next is focusing on stabilization, not transformation. So things like better sleep, more predictable routines, less decision fatigue, for example. These are things that can really help. Stop asking yourself, what do I want to be this year? It's not helpful. And instead ask yourself, what can I realistically support right now? That's where we want to come. And that's what I was talking about with this winter energy. It's not that you don't have to set goals, but how can your goals support you where you are right now rather than trying to become someone new, which may not be the correct energy that you're feeling for this new year. And let your habits serve you. Create habits that support you, that serve you rather than try to control you. You shouldn't feel like you're caged in or boxed in. It should really feel like you're being supported by all of your habits. And the thing is if you're starting to feel more stressed by implementing habits, goals, it's not working. Something is not working. You have to recalibrate that. And again, like winter habits should create safety, should create balance, should support you, not make you feel pressure to do things that you don't feel like doing. The thing is when we look at those seasons, this season could be creating those habits so that when you do get to spring and summer, you feel like you'll have the habits to then sustain creating something new or becoming that next level version of yourself. So they really coincide with each other very well. So, I really want to reiterate that if you feel like it's not a time to create goals, if you don't want to create this new identity shift, it doesn't mean that you're lazy. If you're tired, if you're feeling like you need to rest, there's nothing wrong with that. You're human. We live in nature. We technically should be feeling nature and working with nature. So it's totally normal. And again, like this is where the vision board comes in. If you do create those habits, let's say you create those goals and those small little habits of like, I want to wake up earlier or I want to walk. Those are the things you then put onto your vision board as a way to visualize it, as a way to give your mind a reminder of those things that you're trying to attain, rather than just plastering a bunch of things on a vision board and then you don't know how to achieve those. First, create those small habits and then create that vision board that you can then put as a reminder. But you should have listed those habits, those small tasks, those very small goals that you are going to be working on for yourself. That's what's most important. The vision board is just to amplify those feelings and to keep reminding yourself of them. And again, don't force it. Do what feels right for you. Do what feels right in your energy. Your vision board doesn't need to be perfect. Your goals don't need to be perfect. It just needs to feel aligned with you. Okay. So as always, I have some reflection prompts that I want to share that I think would be super helpful. So take out pen and paper, write it in your phone. I have 3 reflection prompts. The first one is, what habits would support me right now instead of overwhelm me? The second one is, where am I forcing change instead of allowing it? And the third one, what would consistency look like if it felt calm instead of intense? Notice all of these are really tapping into this energy right now, okay? And again, you don't need to reinvent your life this winter. You don't need to do a million vision boards and plaster everything and try to change yourself. Do what works for you. Tend to yourself, your brain, your energy, your physical body. Do what feels good to you and create small habits that are going to support you. Alrighty. I hope this was helpful and gave you some permission to do things differently if that's how you feel. I hope y'all have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll catch you in the next episode.